Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to a special edition of eHeroes. And today's eHeroes podcast is actually a tribute to Dan Kennedy. And I'm bringing back Parthiv Shah, who is Dan's little annoying Indian. And it was a remark that Dan made at a seminar that stuck. And Parthiv has just been one of Dan's greatest students, has deep dived into everything that Dan has ever written, has ever produced. And Parthiv, I asked Parthiv to come back on here to say some great things about Dan, because I think the world needs to know who Dan was. So thank you, Parthiv, for being on the show, and anything that you want to add, it's your show today.
Thanks, man. First of all, thank you for bringing me on this podcast. This gives me a vehicle to share with you and everyone else who will see this today and for days and weeks and months and years to come, how I feel on this sad day that he is leaving. I don't know where to start, man. I am his creation. He drew me like Walt Disney would draw a cartoon character. He always mentions Disney, and he built this whole Disney thing out, and he's always using Disney as a thing. And I'm like, this is Disneyland. I am in Disney. I am in the company of my creator. So I think I am one of his favorite cartoon characters that he drew.
Yeah, I mean, just like Disney drew all the characters and made himself a magical world, Dan made that same world for the marketers that are out there promoting, products and services all over the world.
Yep. Let me tell you what he gave me that is so impactful that will last rest of my life and take care of my family and take care of families that work at e-launchers and takes care of my clients. 4th of July is a day we celebrate as a day of independence in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
15th August is a day we celebrate in India as a day of independence. I celebrate 2019 as a year of my independence. Independence of acquisition of entrepreneurial freedom. He gave me two things. He, with his bare hands, he wrote copy, he critiqued copy, he worked with my lead writer Russell Martino and Tony Pollicci on work that they wrote for me and my clients. I mean, we're not going to get into the business side of Kennedy relationship today, but he gave me ink that sells. And I took the ink that sells and pixelized it and built a digital empire out of it. He gave me two things. One, a system, a process, a marketing machine, a self-managing marketing department that generates a steady stream of qualified leads that come indoctrinated, come educated, and come prepared to buy. Second thing he gave me is he established me in his world as Mr. Implementation. He installed trust in people's heart about me that led up to building a sizable stable of funny we use the word stable given his love for horse. Sizable stable of relationships, customers, loyal customers, I would call them lifers, who pay, stay, and refer. I am so privileged to have the company I have, the position I have, the business I have. He decommoditized me. People don't look at me as a cheap, dependable Indian labor. They look at me as a Kennedy infused center of marketing excellence. How do you express gratitude for that, man?
Well, let's go back to when Dan nicknamed you his annoying little Indian. How did
Yeah.
that come about?
Well, so before that, he called me Velcro.
Velcro.
It's like he will stick to you like a Velcro, won't let go, don't let him come too close. That's the advice that he gives to people. So I'm little, shorter than normal, so everyone's tall, except my friend Dr. Emily Letron. Uh, so she's little, just not annoying. How did annoying come up? Questions. I ask too many questions. Every time he speaks, I would be there with a written questions right there, running towards the mic asking questions. Okay. Now, I'm going to reveal a little dirty little secret behind me questioning, behind me asking questions. Back in the day, in 09, 010, right? I began exhibiting at JKIC in probably 2013. But up until like that, I would attend JKIC events and I would attend Infusionsoft events. So you fly and you sit in the audience, and ad breaks you network exchange business card and call them. That is how I got started. These are lifers. These are people who have known him very well, and I am this weird little new guy barely speaking English. How do I get myself known? So what I did is I read the list of speakers, and he was always one of the speakers. And then I read their bios and stuff like that on the web and all. And then I would prepare a bank of questions for each speaker. It has nothing to do with what they say on stage. I have my questions. And the intent of the question is to strike a conversation because someone in the audience has an answer to the question that I'm asking that is so off topic, speaker's not going to answer it. So I would either get to talk to speaker after that, because sometimes they would answer it on stage. Sometimes they would say, let's take it offline. I got a way to get into a conversation with the speaker. Or someone in the audience would say, ooh, we should talk. That was a great question. That led up to meaningful conversations beyond, hi, I'm Parthiv Shah, can I be your Indian? So first he was intrigued that I was doing it. Then he just figured out what I was doing. He just didn't have the heart to squish it, but he had to call it out. So in return, he took the liberty of to pick on me. And he thought by making fun of me or making jokes about me or taking shots at me, I never backed down. I monetized it. One day, one day, this is after fourth question at the conference. Fourth. Okay. I asked the question. They said, okay, no more. You can't get second bite of that apple. Okay. I would walk back in line at the mic. Hey, sit down. Not you. Fine. One day, so somebody asked a follow-on question to me. And that wasn't staged. It was just a friend supporting me. It was pure improv. And she asked a question follow-on to me. And he looked at her. I think it was Tori Peggenberry. And she owns a dental practice in Phoenix. She asked a question. And he looked at her and said, you want to support the annoying little Indian, don't you? Everybody laughed. People clapped, cheered. I sat down. I did following four things, Rob. Within seconds, I went online to buy annoyinglittleindian.com domain. I pointed it from my phone to one of my free book landing pages. Okay. I called my graphic design. I sent a text to my graphic designer. You have 5 minutes to build me a big sign with my picture, Dan's picture, him calling me annoying little Indian from stage. Go. A sign was emailed to me within minutes. I sent that sign to Mitch, who was at the booth outside, saying, before Dan is done speaking, I want you to have this sign printed, bribe someone to get an easel in the booth, or and put this sign in our booth. Before Dan is done speaking, I want the largest display of annoying little Indian in my booth. Mitch ran to FedEx. They printed the largest sign at the hotel that they could print. He didn't even bother asking. He knocked out a GKIC sign to steal the easel. It was a catch me if you can moment. We put that sign in my booth before Dan was done speaking. When Dan was done speaking, he walked by the booth. He looked at the sign. He looked at me. It's like, I don't even feel bad saying it. You look what you did with it. If you go to annoyinglittleindian.com today, it goes to one of my landing pages. What I will do is I'm going to have my own digital shrine of Kennedy and me. And I'll put a bunch of digital goodies up there. So annoyinglittleindian.com will have, of course, this video. We will have other things about Dan. We will have pictures of me and him, and I'll round up a bunch of videos where he's picking on me, and that'll be the awesome tribute to him, to me. Many people learned from him.
But was that the thing that triggered Dan to start going to some of your dinner events?
Okay, so the dinner. Well, no. You know, I'm annoying little Indian. I'm living up to the expectation. So I would send a fax and then call Vicky, and I mean, it takes a monumental act to first of all host a private dinner at GKIC event. You have to do it in concert with them, get a clearance by Tanya, and make sure that we are following the rules and things like that. So I have a dinner at Info Summit and Super Conference. We do a dinner called Celebration of Success. And so I invite my private clients, my friends like you. You attended that dinner last time, right?
Yes.
The other vendors who work with me and prospects. And it basically it's just a dinner, no presentations, no nothing, and everyone stand up and say something nice about Parthiv, and then prospects mingle with clients, and it's a social proof. That's basically my play on dinner. Uh, Nick Lewisi, Adam Whitty, and Rusty Shelton show up, and it's just a yes, let's eat, cheers today. And it wouldn't be complete without having Dan. So I would say, hey Dan, would you attend my dinner? No, his time is at premium. He goes from he has three places. Every meal is accounted for. So it takes months of effort, and the answer is no. So Vicky will say, Parthiv, you got your first no. I'm like, okay. So let's see if we can. Okay. And she says, so she was like, Parthiv, this is the fifth no this time for this conference, but it's not a firm no yet. One day, I told him, I said, Dan, I'm so grateful to Vicky. I've been able to get away with so much stuff that I wouldn't. And he's like, yes, you should thank her for that. I have no idea what you're getting away with, do you? You don't think I would notice all that, would you? Okay, but he showed up. He gave me a lot, man. He wrote forward to my book. So I wrote Business Kama Sutra. He wrote a forward to my book. He invited me to write a chapter in about 4 no BS books. People who read that book and then call me, trust is established. Remember I said he installed trust in people's heart about working with me, which became the foundation of giving me a self-managing marketing company. So now I can go to Dan Sullivan and learn how to build a self-managing company.
Dan laid the foundation for a lot of marketers, and even me, when I met him in 1998 in Phoenix, I had no idea who Dan was. I thought he was this old curmudgeon, and I sat down at a table. He was there. I asked him if I could sit down, and he's like, yeah. And within about 5 minutes, I wanted to punch him because it was just, he was mean. He was nasty. He said my business was not unique. And I'm like, who is this guy? And when they called, the recess was over and we all went back into the conference room, they called his name and he goes up on stage and I'm like, what? But, I listened to everything he said. I bought his books. I started to trust him. And, he had that much of an impact on hundreds, if not thousands of marketers. And you can see it every single day when you go to these events. But I mean, you live, breathe, and act with everything that Dan has ever done.
I'm so grateful, man. have virtually everything that was published by Dan Kennedy, by Kennedy Inner Circle, by Pete Lillo, by GKIC, by Adam. Everything that was ever published and available for sale, I have. So there is this digital marketing agency in India that was visiting America, and he came to e-launches. And so in my office, he looked at my Kennedy Shrine, I mean, the bookcases. He's like, wow, Parthiv bhai, you have legal copies of everything. And I do. I got everything. Then, when him and I began working intimately, when I became his private client, and he took an interest in e-launchers, and we created an arrangement where he would contribute to my internal marketing machine. And so we have a so I said, then what do you want to contribute? I says, let me send you something. That something, Rob, that something had several 100 pounds, about half a dozen boxes, yay big.
Wow.
Yay big showed up. It had binders, handwritten, I mean, about 50,000 pages of unpublished material. I told him that I someday, so my guru is Dr. Stephen Rulak, and Rulak has been helping me put together my doctoral dissertation proposal, so someday I can get a doctorate. And of course, Kennedy would be a core of my thing, my research dissertation. We're not going to get into the topic and all today, but so, and Dan knew that that's what I'm up to. So when I say contribution, I was expecting a fax or a report. So he did all that, but I mean, 50,000 pages of material. Now, I am blessed to have all that. I am blessed to have the brains to be able to read, comprehend, resynthesize my notes, understand what it means, distill the concept down, and build an implementation plan. So I was able to do a lot with what he gave me, what I took from him. So, shock and awe. Mm-hmm. His shock and awe formula. Right? So one day he says, hey, get a mic. I'm going to show your shock and awe package. So give me a shock and awe. So I gave him my shock and awe. Do you have others? Yeah, I kind of had a few on display that I gave him. So I gave him Dustin Burleson, Greg Weick, a couple of dentists, right? Ben Glass was speaking next after Dan, and Burleson and Ben were having a panel. Burleson and Ben Glass were having a panel, and before that, Kennedy, right? And then, so he shows my shock and awe, telling people how to lay out a shock and awe, and how to use a shock and awe, and asking for referrals. I mean, that moment put me in shock and awe business. So he says, you have 1 minute to tell me what is so different about your shock and awe. 1 minute. And I had the mic. That 1 minute I said, Dan, not a damn thing. I took your formula, swiped it to the pixel, and I am doing a shock and awe exactly the way you do if you were doing it. I mean, I take pride in not being different or creative. I just do exactly the way you do it. So he's like, you stripped off my formula. I'm like, Dan, you call me a parasite. I'm living up to the expectation. And then he says, there you go. And he's doing it brilliantly. Me, he built my Shakana practice by saying that from stage, man.
Mhm.
Look, he gave me things money can't buy. Rob, what am I going to do now?
You're going to take everything that you've ever learned and become the next Dan Kennedy. And that's what people want from you. Now you
I'm,
become the mentor to the students.
I'm not Walt Disney, man. I'm Mickey Mouse.
No, you're more Walt Disney than you believe. And that's what Dan's greatest legacy is all the students that have ever come to him to carry on what they've learned to teach it to the next generation.
You know, November is Growth Summit. There will be a celebration of life. I still don't have my final answer. So, about my dinner at Growth Summit, I still didn't get my firm no, I think. But I don't think he's attending my dinner. But he will be
He'll
there.
he'll be there in spirit.
He'll be there in spirit. Yes.
Yeah.
So this year at Growth Summit, my dinner, we are going to have a plate setting for him. At that plate setting, we will put his bobblehead next to my bobblehead, and he won't take questions, but we will all get together and celebrate his life, celebrate his legacy, and express gratitude for his contribution. And now is the time to get together, take his flag, and carry it forward. Um, he is as big as Disney. He is, his name can stay in our economics ecosystem. You know, Forbes built Wall Street, Dan built Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a, I got more out of Kennedy than Forbes because I'm not a Wall Street guy. I'm a Main Street guy. And he, Dan Kennedy, paved my Main Street with gold.
Yeah.
And that's what I am grateful for. He gave me the America that I came to. He calls me his annoying little Indian because he is my America.
Yeah. So, all you guys that are listening, this was a tribute to Dan Kennedy, the ultimate e-hero. And I want to thank Parthiv for sharing his experience with Dan. And for all those who want to learn more, go to Parthiv's URL. What is it? The Little
Yeah,
Annoying Indian?
annoyinglittleidian.com.
AnnoyingLittleIndian.com. Hey, this is Rob Anspach. I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much.